Is this a spring? The PRIMEX 2.0 STRUNG shoe is finally released over here in the UK. It's quite the update with new technologies, new ideas all built into the shoe. Or is it? One word that's being used by the Three Stripe brand to advertise the shoe is bound to upset some people more than Noah Lyle's recent comments about world champions. And that is the word spring. Within recent unveiling videos and some of the advertising bump, they refer to the two infused carbon plates as a leaf spring and very much shift the focus of the shoe to a concept car or like a wild experiment. But is it beyond the limits of running shoe acceptability? Let's discuss. Hey cats, EDDBUD here, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't done so, please help us out by hitting that subscribe button, but also giving this video a thumbs up like. Give us a super thanks too if you'd like to support the channel on a more ad hoc basis. Today, talking about that PRIMEX 2.0 STRUNG. I want to love it, I really do. I have ordered a pair. Let's see what happens. Viewers of the channel will know that I love the original version of that PRIMEX STRUNG. Oh man, what a shoe. I ran in this yesterday and it brought back all those wonderful memories. Pretty much the greatest running shoe that I've got in the collection. Pretty much I've ever bought or running. When you think about it though, it's not all that crazy in terms of the tech implementation. I mean, aside from the very high sort of glam rock style stack here, but how can ADIDAS make the shoe even better? Some people found the original version of the PRIMEX just too unstable, almost unrunnable in fact. Maybe I've got exceptionally strong ankles, but I always found it just effortless really. Just leaves my legs and my whole self really feeling great. I remember talking to Sam at Road Trail Run about it and he just said it was one of those shoes that just makes you enjoy your running, and I really agree with him on that. This time though, ADIDAS have ripped out some foam, added some in certain areas of the shoe, and they've even got like a split carbon plate in there as well. It's like they got two carbon plates and then sandwiched some foam in the middle there. It's quite something. You can see here in the image we've got those two plates split apart to house another type of ADIDAS foam. They're calling it Energy Core. I bet it's some sort of like P-Bax or PIBA based foam, that's probably what it is, but they do suggest that it acts like a spring. Yes, that leaf spring here appears to create some sort of forefoot suspension system almost. I mean, that's normally where you'd see this type of system within a car, so it remains to be seen how it's going to function within a running shoe. I do though anticipate the second version of the PRIMEX STRUNG to be a far more stable one. They've gotten rid of this cutout section here. It does remind me a little bit, I suppose, of the ADIDAS Pro, the original. And that was one of the best ADIDAS shoes in terms of performance from me and time. So we'll have to see if it actually translates once again. The plates will no doubt dull the instability a little that we had with the fibre rods from before. The main reason I see the shoe being more consistent underfoot is the increased width in the heel of the shoe too, and that lack of the arch cutout. All the changes here remind me of the ADIDAS Pro 3. They just made it a little bit wider there, increased the stability. So in reality we're going to get a heavier shoe there, but with increased stability, it's probably going to appeal to the masses a little bit more. The foam that we have sandwiched between those two carbon plates as well does seem to be utilised back in the heel area, perhaps to sort of soften things up a bit. I mean, Light Strike Pro is a very soft material, but let's not beat around the bush here. It does take a little bit of time to actually beat it down to sort of tenderize it, I suppose. So maybe they're going for that initial on-foot kind of feel. They want the comfort to be there, you know, that step in kind of comfort. So we have Light Strike Pro here as the mainstay, then some sporadic Energy Core stuff elsewhere. Interesting to see how ADIDAS use this in the future to further improve the legal race shoe designs. Now there's certainly more of that new foam that we see here in the forefoot section of the shoe than we did in the prototypes that we saw a few months back. Perhaps the holes there and the cutouts were too big of a gamble in terms of perhaps a lack of durability, and ADIDAS just weren't prepared to take that gamble with lots of returns. You know, any holes in a midsole of a running shoe are just going to let in lots of water, debris and stuff, so maybe it was just too much of a gamble. And let's face it, at the moment they're wanting to play things a little bit safe after the whole Yeezy thing. Though it does seem that they're going with a more non-elite sort of focus this time. No worries lying with their advertising perhaps if you're not an elite athlete, then sort of any shoe is game. There is a price increase to 250 Earth credits here in the UK. That's a bump of 20 Earth credits from the original. But with all these crazy changes here, these experimental things, I think you've actually got a shoe that can be perhaps used by more people, and that means potentially more sales. It's almost making the shoe like more regular by not having the rods and the blades there. I know it sounds crazy, people, but it's true. Let's not forget that the shoes that sell really well every single year are the more runnable models, the ones that people pick up multiple pairs of and sort of burn through them on a daily basis. We got pairs of the original PRIMEX Strung on sale now over here in the UK at around about £160. I think that says it all, really. Great shoe for me, but might not be a great shoe for Mrs. Muggins when she does a 3-kilometre run after she's finished and locked up at the wool shop. So perhaps that shoe didn't fly out of the stores. Maybe people were waiting to pick them up for a discount. Maybe you're at home right now buying a pair of the originals. I've got to be honest, to me it's still one of the greatest running shoes you can buy. So should amateurs be allowed to wear this shoe for a race? Well, let's not forget that anybody can wear this shoe, you know, to do your training or whatever. If you're not an elite championship athlete, it just doesn't matter. But do they now present some sort of significant advantage to non-elite runners? Are we sort of fooling ourselves, you know, if we're going to wear them for a race? I think the original, perhaps, you know, it weighs the same as something like the Zoomfly Flyknit, crazy light and really bouncy and propulsive. But when you consider that the second version that's just come out is like 40 to 50 grams more, I think that really stops it from being a start line shoe. It's almost like Adidas have intentionally sort of increased the actual weight of the shoe to perhaps move away from that discussion. They've tailored the properties of it to make it perhaps less appealing as a race model. It's certainly an intriguing prospect and clearly meant as like a concept line now, but when it was so ridiculously good before with this beefier price, you know, it's like 60 quid more than the Super Blast from ASICS, it does beg the question, is this change for change's sake? Could they not have just tailored the original design a bit more and kept the weight there and just rejig things a little bit? But as we know, brand new high performance shoes don't always fly off the shelves, as we've seen with the Alphafly 2 and the Vaporfly 3. And some of those basketball models as well. The Jordan 38 released the other day, and you can pick up a pair of those in any size. At 295 grams for a UK 8.5, I'm excited to see what the shoe's really like in hand and on feet. As I said, I've ordered a pair. I really like innovation. I want to see if, you know, this is in any way like that fantastic shoe that they had before. You know, it's one of the highest rated and reviewed shoes on the channel ever. I really have to let you know whether it's worth picking up this sequel. And sequels so often miss the mark, don't they? With films, with albums from new bands. Perhaps only Fontaine's DC of recent time have produced, you know, consistently good material year on year. And maybe like Johnny Marr or someone is just like consistently good every time. Neil Young, I'm a big fan, but I can't say that like every album that he's ever done is good. There's some not good ones in there. I do think though that this new version is going to appeal to more people out there, but I'm not so sure it will be for me, Mr. Windsock in a storm. Now, I did notice that there's a difference between the two versions that they have released over here in the UK. They're both 250 quid, but one of them, Adidas, did not actually remove the discount exemption from. Sadly, my good buddy Tim Gross had to go for the one that was exempt from the discounts because of the size of the shoe he required. So if you're savvy, you can pick up a pair of the PRIMEX 2.0 Strung and get a really hot discount on it. Not entirely sure how Adidas missed that. Have you picked up a pair of the 2.0 on discount? Are you excited to run in them? I am. I gotta be honest, I love new running shoe stuff. Ever since I was a little boy, picking up brochures and stuff about Air Max shoes, you know, back in the late 80s. I love this stuff, so I'm really excited to see what it's like for myself, you know. There's reviews and stuff out there, but maybe the people just had tired legs. Forever the optimist me. Let me know your thoughts on this one down in the comments. Musical interlude time. It appears one of my favourite groups. Kind of reminds me of being a young lad, actually, you know, with no sort of responsibility, heading down the pub, playing some pool, drinking some dry blackthorn and eating mini cheddars all day. Teenage Fan Club. They have a new album coming out. Really prolific, actually, over the last few years. They've consistently released new material. The album's called Nothing Lasts Forever, which is Actually a bit odd, because it does seem like Teenage Fan Club do. Really like the initial tracks they've released. Foreign Land is lovely, very jangly guitars, some lovely acoustic guitars there as well. Nice airy production. Reminds me sort of the old days of Teenage Fan Club, you know, sort of back in 97 or whatever it was. Some wonderful electric guitar tones here. They've just got enough breakup on the guitar to provide that sort of slightly harsher noise, but it's more warm than anything, I suppose. It wouldn't surprise me if they're using a technique here on the guitars where they're actually sort of splitting the guitar signal into two different amps. Maybe one's a little bit more overdriven and the other one's clean, just to get that really nice sort of jangly tone, even regardless of the fact they're using quite a bit of distortion sometimes. Very impressed so far, but we'll have to wait and see what the other tracks are like when it does release towards the end of September. Nothing Lasts Forever by Teenage Fan Club. Lots of people have been asking me about some of the apparel that I'm wearing. It's from Runner. I'll put a link in the description if you want to pick up some. I think this one's called the Barcelona hat. And of course you got the hoodie here as well. Even into more humid temperatures, nice and breathable. Really enjoying this one. Thanks to Runner for sending it over. Hit that subscribe button and also give this video a thumbs up like people. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you.